Dude, what are you doing?
Making coffee. What does it look like I'm doing? Hey guys, welcome to Gear Tasting. Today I want to talk about one of the skills that I've always wanted to learn, and no, it's not being Batman. It's how to throw a boomerang, and it's just kind of been a life skill thing that I've always wanted to do for a long time, and I finally researched boomerangs online, and I came across this company called Boomerangs by Vic. It's a guy who makes them all here in the United States. He handcrafts each one of them. This one's number 254 out of the Batarang version 2 returning boomerang that he made. But I really like the construction. I like the way it looked. I thought it was kind of a cool thing to get one that looks like a true Batarang too. So I watched some videos online that he had on how to throw a boomerang, and what he suggests is actually gripping it with kind of a thumb and two fingers like this, and then throwing kind of mid-height. And he actually recommends different techniques for different boomerangs he makes. It's kind of cool. So this one's kind of mid-height, which means it's kind of eye level when you're throwing it. And you want to throw into the wind, but slightly to the right of into the wind. And we have a pretty windy day, so I did a couple of practice tosses. This is the first day and first time I've ever thrown this. And, you know, I had 10 minutes of digging through the scrub brush because I threw it way back there. But I'm still learning how to do this, obviously. It's an interesting skill, something I've always wanted to learn. I thought I'd kind of share with you guys in Gear Tasting. I thought it might be something you guys might be into as well. I don't think I'm going to necessarily take down any bad guys by throwing a Batarang or anything like that, but anyway, thought it'd be a cool skill to demonstrate. So let's give it a shot. Again, I'm going to use kind of a pistol grip like this when I'm throwing it. It's going to be into the wind, slightly to the right of it, mid-height, and I want a kind of a medium toss too. So I'm not going to like just super toss it, but we'll see. I'll experiment with some different things, and I'll see if it can get it to return back to me. All right, so that obviously went a little over my head, but we'll give it a few more shots and see if I can get it to actually land in my hands. You're supposed to kind of catch it with this kind of fashion, kind of like a Frisbee. Missed it. That was the closest yet. So closest yet. I think there's just too much wind. So that's the deal. I don't know how Batman does it. I'm gonna call him up and just ask if he has any pointers, because I can't get this Batarang to function right. And it's not Vic's fault. Obviously, I think we're trying to throw into too much wind, but we'll keep trying. All right, well that hurt like a son of a bitch. I don't know how Batman does it. I really don't. I give up. No, I don't. I'm gonna keep trying it. Just not today. All right, guys, so we're going to pick back up with some questions over coffee. Today, I'm drinking some Avoca Mogwai. It's their blend coffee. I really like it. It's a local shop out of Fort Worth that we really like their coffee. It's kind of a cool, I don't know what you call their environment there. Hipster? Probably hipster. Anyway, they can make good coffee. So, all right, I've got a bunch of questions, and what I'm going to try to do is limit them to about a minute apiece, because I've got a bunch to get through. Obviously, we haven't had questions over coffee in a little bit, and I'd like to catch up a little bit. So, Rob, do you have anything that can like buzz me or something? You got a timer on your iPhone?
Hold on, I got something.
What do you got?
That's what she said.
Perfect. All right. First question comes from Zach on YouTube. Can you guys talk about cots and bedding you use for overlanding glamping? So, yes, the cots that I have and the ones that I really like for that are made by Oztent. I'll make sure I put a link in the description for those cots, but typically for bedding, I'll either take, I don't really take a sleeping bag for that type of thing if I'm using an Oztent. The cots that we have for Oztent camping are a little bigger, they're wider and longer, which I like because they're more comfortable to sleep on. They're a little bit padded. What are you laughing at?
That's what she said.
Okay. Anyway, was that already a minute? No, okay. But I'll take a sheet or a wool blanket or something like that to cover up with, and I'll always try to take a full-size pillow if I have room. If not, I use a little Nemo pillow. I'll link to that too. Next question. Matusik. Facebook. Is there any way to purchase the honey badger patch? Not at this time. We did a kind of a comeback of the honey badger. We released a few for, I want to say, it wasn't our deal of the week, but it was like a mystery box, I think, is what we had though. So I don't know. Possibly it could make a return again, but as of this moment, no, we do not. That was under a minute. All right. Astrovogue from Twitter. Do you have a favorite satellite phone? Honestly, I really haven't had that much experience with satellite phones, and by not much, I mean I have a friend who has one. That's about it. He does a lot of off-road dirt bike racing and stuff, like he does the Baja 1000 and stuff during the summer, so he has a use for one. He's way out in the sticks, and he doesn't have any type of communication when it comes to that. I haven't really found myself in that type of environment like that, you know, kind of a remote desert area like that. So I haven't ever really looked into them to actually purchase one, but I will find out the kind that he has and at least put a link to that model. That's the best I can do. All right, next question. I need some more coffee. Brian, you mentioned before that you carry a Glock 43. What modifications have you done to it, if any? What is your view of modifying carry guns? My view of modifying carry guns is don't do it. That's just my opinion. That's my view, and I'm sticking to it. I think that the Glock 43 has been phenomenal to carry. I've really liked it. I haven't done anything to it. I don't plan to do anything to it. I'm running it right out of the box. If I do anything whatsoever, it might be replacing the sights. So I've been debating back and forth on whether to do that or not. I don't really care for the plastic factory Glock sights, and I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to doing that, and when I do, I'll make sure to talk about it on Gear Tasting. Next question. Rubicon V or 5 from YouTube. It would be cool if you also did some in the field videos where you get outside of your building. Well, I don't get outside during the heat of the summer for anything less than a Batarang. So as you can see, I'm still kind of dripping sweat from 10 a.m. being outside. It's I'm hoping, we got a little taste of fall already here in Texas, but I'm hoping in the next week or two we get some more opportunity to get outside. We decided to just brave it this morning and get out there as early as we could, and it's still hot in Texas. I'm happy to report. All right, any advice on pipes and getting into pipe smoking? I assume you mean tobacco pipes, and that's what I'm going to talk about, because those are the kind I have, and those are the kind that I'm going to talk about. I think I have 4 pipes now, and I kind of pick them up in various places. So if I'm traveling somewhere and there's a pipe shop, I'll usually stop in and see if I can kind of pick up something new, if they have anything that looks cool. I've always just kind of gone by looks when it comes to pipes. I try to buy name brands and stuff like that, but it really just kind of comes down to personal preference in terms of looks. I think all pipes are somewhat similar as long as they're manufactured well. I don't think you'd necessarily have a problem. Yes, there are cheaper pipes to get, and without getting too far down the rabbit hole, I'll just say, you know, with anything, buy quality, you know, buy once, cry once, that type of thing. So I know that I kind of learned early on that you should always at least kind of swab with a pipe cleaner and leave it in the pipe when you're done smoking it. So that's a little tip that I guess I could give. And then I always try to kind of scrape the bowl of the pipe after I'm done smoking. And yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Thomas B. from Twitter, what do you think about tech apparel in synthetic fabric regarding fire danger, any good merino brand? I like Patagonia's merino wool stuff. Their layering system, man, forget the word that they use. They have their own proprietary branding when it comes to what?
Capilene.
Capilene, that's what it is, yes. So their base layer stuff is all called Capilene, it's wool. And the deal with that is why Thomas asked that question is because wool is inherently flame resistant, so therefore that's something to consider if you're in a fire environment. So guys that may be doing forest work or something like that, it could possibly be a concern. But I don't necessarily focus on it that much other than for its antimicrobial properties. So I like that because I always wear wool socks. I always try to wear wool underwear just because of the fact that they'll last longer, they won't hold stink as much, and I like that in merino wool. So that's my advice on that. So tech apparel, yeah, I would try to do that as much as possible, but you're more going to be focused on base layer garments as a whole, unless you are around a fire danger. All right, next question. Joey from YouTube, do you shave your legs? No, I do not, Joey. Hopefully that answers your question and you can stop looking at my legs now. I think that's from the video where I was sitting in the camp chair and going over some overlanding stuff, and there was a glare. It was a glare on my legs. They look like maybe they could be mistaken for shaving legs, but they weren't, I assure you. Sean M. on YouTube, do you still have your FJ, and if so, have you made any other improvements? I do still have my FJ, and the only improvement that I've made lately is that I fixed a loud buzzing that was coming from the little strip, like kind of a weather strip slash plastic piece that's right above the windshield. And for some reason, the FJ model that I have and a couple years previous to that had issues to where there was a vibration noise coming from that. So I had to, one, go to the dealership, buy the part, two, get it painted to match my FJ, and then three, get it installed. And the guys that installed it broke and cracked my windshield, so they actually offered to replace my whole windshield. So I have a brand new windshield, which is kind of cool because I had a bunch of chips, and if you know the FJ, it's like glass almost vertical, so it does get a tendency to have a lot of road debris and chips and cracks, and I was actually kind of impressed that they just Johnny on the spot offered to replace it, so I took them up on it, so now I got a new windshield. All right, Randy on YouTube. Hey, I'm quite new to the channel, but I love what I've seen till now. Till now? What did I do, Randy? Right now I'm getting started into airsoft in Croatia, which is mostly rocky terrain. What would you guys recommend for a SHTF shit hit the fan situation? No matter where you are, I would recommend some basics like a good survival kit, a good trauma kit, a good boo-boo kit. Those are some of the big essentials that I would recommend for things like that. And then you really kind of need to look at the overarching perspective of, you know, shelter, food, water, those kind of things, and sustaining that if you're truly in a shit hit the fan situation. So I'm guessing you're kind of referring to if you were out on rocky terrain and got stranded out there. So signaling would be a big thing in my mind. Communications, you know, maybe that satellite phone that we were talking about earlier. So those are just a few things that come from the top of my head. And that's it. I think that was what, like 10 of them? Something like that? Did I make it? Okay.
That's what she said.
Cool. All right, guys, so now that I've had some time to decompress and think about my Batarang, it did get progressively better over time. I think, you know, considering I've only been tossing it for about an hour, I think that with some more practice, I will get better. I mean, I did get to the point where I figured out that I was throwing it too hard and that kind of a lighter toss kind of made it wind up back at my feet if the wind wasn't blowing as hard as it was. So that's definitely a factor when you're throwing a boomerang that I've learned through experience, is that when you're throwing into the wind or slightly right of the wind, as you should be doing, according to Boomerangs by Vic, definitely try to, you know, get some wind that's A little bit windy, but not too severe. If I had to guess, that was probably 20 to 22 miles or something like that. I don't know. I'm going to look it up to find out exactly how fast that wind was blowing because I'd like to know for reference. But anyway, thanks for watching Gear Tasting. Hope you enjoyed it. I did get to some questions over coffee finally, so those didn't go anywhere. Don't worry. They're coming back. We just had a few segments to where we wanted to focus more on the content of the video too. So anyway, hope you enjoy Gear Tasting, and as always, use the pound tag Gear Tasting on any social media network. We will find your questions and get them answered here on Gear Tasting. And if you like what we're doing here on Gear Tasting, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/ITS Tactical. Thanks for watching.